What's going on, boys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, we're going to go over the best tactics I've used this year for the 4-4-2. Again, these are the end game tactics, the rank one, the proper meta tactics. You're going to see some similarities between this one and pro level. One thing I want to mention to you as well is I'm going to go through these tactics and explain it how I normally do, because the gameplay, I think with the 4-4-2, everyone knows how to play it, but I will make a video on that soon. Okay, so defensive style. Now, I want to make this very clear. Defensive style, it does depend on what kind of formation you want to use. I would say though, for most players, balance, and you'll see most pro players doing something like this anyway, because they like to press manually. If you want to use this and use one of these two, feel free to go ahead and do so, but do not use constant pressure unless you are like losing the game. So I'm just going to say balance, and that's the reason why. Okay, now width, we put it up just a little bit, 60. Now the idea behind this is, normally when you're defending, especially in the 4-4-2, the benefit of it is that you can press very high up the pitch, because it's naturally quite a wide formation. You cover most of the pitch. What I've done is I've decreased the depth. Now this is not defensive. It looks, people going to say 45, is that defensive? No. The average player doesn't know the difference between 35 and 75 depth. You'll be surprised. But we put it more in the balance. Then if you want to, you can reduce depending on how defensive you want to play. So adjustment I would say to you is, if you find the team a bit too wide, because the only downside with this is the gaps created in between the lines. So if you know you struggle with defending, then I would say just reduce the width here. This is why you see a lot of pro players use these exact tactics. But if everyone else, let's say you're on a rank, like let's say you're a rank 4 player, you try copying it, it won't be the same thing, because that pro's got the ability to move from centre mid and cover up the right centre mid position, or cover in the gaps. That's what's important to mention. Build up play, put it on long ball. Basically, this is just says whenever you get the ball, make runs going forward. A lot of players don't use enough L1 triggers and 1-2s. Anyway, half the players just forget about using them. So long ball helps with you creating chances and buying that. For the chance creation, I would say leave it on balance. You know, with the 4-4-2, I think it does it quite well, both on new gen and old gen, by the way, to leave it on balance. Because you see, when you put direct passing, you're forced to play in one way. For example, although I like direct passing, it's not my favorite. I do prefer forward runs, but balance is kind of an amalgamation of everything. And I think, especially at this stage of the year, you've got already those top tier players, those footies players with good attacking awareness. They will know what to do most of the time. The real thing depends on the instructions. Now, for the width, we left it on default. However, I do like to bring it down to about 30-ish. My personal preference, but I'm not going to include it here. Players in the box on 7. Now going over to the instructions itself, we have both strikers on comeback and defense, similar to how like real life is. And talking about real life, this video is sponsored by the One Football app. I'm sure you guys used it before. You've seen this on my channel before. The best app for all latest football news, transfer news, lineups, etc., etc. They also have a giveaway running right now where you can win a jersey of your favorite football team and a copy of FIFA 23. It's really, really easy. Click on the link in the down below in the description. You download the One Football app from this link over here, and then you fill in information. So you copy and paste the headline of the first article you see when you open the One Football app, your name, your surname, email address, country residence, favorite football club, and then your predictions. So it's obviously this coming weekend, with the weekend league in FIFA, of course, coincides with the start of the Premier League. And also you've just got pre-predictions down. So who do you think is going to win? You think Crystal Palace is going to win? You think Arsenal's going to win? Or do you think it's going to be a draw? Write predictions for all the games, read the TOS. If you agree with terms and conditions, click this and press submit. And that's it. Simple as that. You enter. Don't forget, download it from this link here, and you get a chance to win your jersey for your favorite football team and a copy of FIFA 23. And don't forget to do this as soon as possible, because this giveaway is going to be ending very, very soon, in the next day or so before the season starts. So don't forget that. And don't forget, link is down below in the description for that for more information. When we go over to left mid and right mid, we're going to put them on comeback and offense. Very, very simple, and get into the box or cross. There's going to be some things that we're going to change towards the end, and I want to explain that to you in a bit more detail. If you don't know what's going on, just copy this as it is, okay? Now, the most attacking centre mid, what you'll see very, very common in attack in pro level is that you'll have someone coming in to help break up the majority of like a 2 CDM and create an extra man coming forward. Think about this like the third man coming forward. Now, I would say put this player on get forward. Now, you do have the tactics long ball, okay? So that means that when you get the ball, that player will also look to make that run in behind if you leave it unbalanced. But we'll get onto that in a second. Leave it on get forward, get into the box for a cross. Because if you get the ball with, let's say, your right wing, you want this player to be running inside late to get that first time shot or that goal inside the box. Cover centre, however, for both CDMs or centre mids. The other one, I put him on stern edge of the box, so he never goes centrally, and stay back while attacking. So this is going to be, you can almost think of it like a CDM, the guy that's going to stay back, and then you have the attacking player on the left hand side. It doesn't matter which player, which way you have it. Some people have personal preference to have it on the right hand side. it doesn't make that much difference. I prefer it on the left, me personally speaking. Left back and right back, don't stay back. Now, this is where things are going to get a bit interesting, okay? These tactics alone will be more than fine for the average player, okay? More than fine, okay? This is what you'd see a lot of top tier pro players using. Now, the question is after this is how do you manipulate this for your playstyle, okay? If you like your strikers, for example, how I do, I like them to stay in the middle. I never want Messi to go down the wing. I want Messi and Eusebio to always be up front, so I leave them on stay center, okay? If you're a new gen, you might not like getting behind. You might want to leave them on balanced because they do their own thing. And you know, for example, when you go down the wing, you make a pass inside the box with direct passing, you can score that goal. So you might want to leave these guys unbalanced, okay? I don't leave them on getting behind. Sometimes I do. It depends. If I am playing old gen, however, I do leave them on getting behind, okay? So think about how you play. If you're sitting here and you're like, you know what, Neil, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know I play counter attack. Put both of these guys on getting behind. If you score majority of your goals, counter attack. If you're up against your opponent and he's parking the bus 95% of the time and you're outside his box, then don't, okay? Left mid and right mid, leave these guys on balance, okay? With chance creation on balance, they will sometimes come short, they will sometimes go forward, and they'll have like a balance is basically a combination of all these, but the game does much to think in itself. The best thing about this is if you want to push a player forward, you can always do that yourself with the L1 button. That's the benefit. So if you want to push them forward, do it L1. You want them to come back, you do it with right back. And that is why everyone always asks me, when someone releases, like they see that text or their favorite player release a tactic, they see it, everything virtually balanced. Well, the reason is because they do everything themselves. That's why my tactics normally work for the average person, because people don't take into account long ball. The pros don't need long ball because they know they're doing 1-2, they're doing L1 triggers. But someone in Division 2, even the Elite Division, are they doing it as much as a pro player? Probably nowhere near. Okay? Lead them if you want. I would not tinker with this at all. Trust me. If you want them to go wide, use hug the sidelines. That is it. Do not tinker with them. If you want to, you can put getting behind as left mid and right mid if you do like to use the butterfly wings, and if you don't, use L1 triggers yourself, okay? That's one thing I want to mention. Long ball with this tactic is saying when you get the ball, those players are going to make runs going forward anyway, and that is why you don't need getting behind for the strikers and for the left mid and right mid. Do you see how it's all kind of coming together? Now, for the centre mids, if you want to, you can put them both on stay back while attacking, cover centre, okay? But I think having one player going forward, an AI player going forward, helps you to create an extra run. Now, there's something to note. If you struggle, let's say your opponent is parking the bus with 2 banks of 4 here and 2 strikers, and you struggle and you know here that when you have to pass the ball backwards, one of your centre mids is only there and you get isolated, then leave them both on stay back, okay? Tinker this to your play style, because a lot of players, and what I've seen from coaching is, if someone is parking the bus, let's say, I'm going to try to draw this at this point over here. If someone is parking a bus, let's say over here, what happens is they end up having, for example, the left mid, 2 strikers, and then they have 1 centre mid and another one coming in during the attack. If they lose the ball, they get isolated. They don't know who to pass the ball backwards to. If you know you struggle with that, then leave the other centre mid unbalanced, and you can always bring him forward yourself with an L1 trigger, guys. All you've got to do with Cancelo is do a simple 1-2 L1 plus X pass, or do an L1 trigger to Cancelo, and you can make that run going forward. So change it yourself if you know. And this is the thing about end game tactics, guys. You need to know what works for you. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say it's going to work for every single person. It'll work for 99% of you. But there'll be one guy, for example, who likes to play possession. If you play possession and use this tactic, is it going to work for you 80% of the time? Probably yes, probably better than yours. But it won't work 99%. That's when you make the changes yourself, okay? The left back and the right back, in my opinion, there's absolutely no need to put these guys to go forward, okay? If you want them to go forward, just do 1-2s with them, and that's what I'd say. The 2 centre backs, leave them on stay back. Something I see quite common. I don't know who's suggesting this. Do not put conservative on your centre back. They will play worse. Take it coming from me, and I don't care who ever told you this. I don't care what the reasoning is. I promise you, this will not help by putting them conservative. They're gonna sit back even more. And it's even worse now with the changes to title bit number 14 with the passes. Goalkeeper, I couldn't care less what you would do. You could do whatever you want here. It doesn't make a difference. The front line is not that high. If you had a higher depth, maybe Superkeeper might be a bit of a problem, but you can leave it on balance, okay? Now, the question you're going to ask is, what about the 4-2-4? Well, that is if you're pressing the entire game. This tactic is one to be using when you're winning or when you're losing. It's used for all stages of the game, and it's a very balanced tactic. If you want to go crazy aggressive, then you copy these exact tactics and you put it on a 4-4-2. But still put the players on comeback and defense, because the biggest misconception I see is people think, oh, I'm losing, let me put all these guys on stay forward. Now, stay forward is the wrong thing, because when you're losing, your opponent's going to know you have 2 centimeters, going to pass the ball around you while you've got 4 players on stay forward. Most players are smart enough to realize that. You want all your players behind the ball, so that way when you're trying to get the ball off your opponent, you're going together as a unit. You're not going with 4 players on stay forward. And you're going to ask me, oh, what about the pro players? Tex has them on stay forward, or whoever pro player you got it from. It's because they know how to bring that striker back with teammate contain, and how to right stick switch them, and to use striker drop back as well. They know how to do all this stuff, so that is the big difference. Okay, so do you understand now? Even my stuff, I put them on comeback and defense. You want to press together in a unit. That's why you're better having everyone come back behind the ball. And to be honest, these 2 strikers, they don't really come back and defend anyway. After FIFA 20 October patch, they don't come back to the box anymore. They still stay kind of like stay forward anyway. So putting them on comeback and defense, stay forward, it's a marginal difference compared to every other formation. But anyway, that is the end game 4-4-2 custom tactics videos. We're not going to go over this again. So if you have any other I suppose you can say questions, do let them know down below in the description. I might make the 4-4-2 second variation, but again, it's very, very similar. I don't even know if it's even worth making that. But let me know if you do want to see that. And let me know any questions down below in regards to that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Take it as a course. Catch you next time. Peace out, guys.